Hello again, I'm Jim Glover, that branding guy for Once a Day Marketing, where business takes shape. And today is Recon Thursday, where we have you look inside your organization and outside towards your marketing competition. Today's title is Finding New Customers, and we are going to talk about those strategies. But first, I previously talked about how to work with your existing customers and how to make those existing customers count. Now, there's definitely benefits to working with your existing customers. They already know you, you know them, cheap to communicate with them. But things can happen when you just devote time to only your existing customers. They may move to somebody else's product. They may literally die off if you are catering to an older clientele. You might have too many eggs, so to speak, in one basket. So it is nice to diversify, and a much better growth strategy is to seek out new customers, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. To elaborate a little bit on this idea of finding new customers, let's talk about two companies that I know you've heard of. One is Nike and the other is Apple. Nike got started a long time ago by developing a performance shoe for men. And I think today, if that's the only market they had ever catered to, they'd be out of business. But then they decided that they would expand that into women's shoes. And then they got the idea of just do it. So you didn't have to necessarily be a performance athlete. You could be any kind of athlete doing any kind of athletics activities, and Nike was for you. And then they got into apparel, and then they got into equipment like Tiger Woods golf equipment. So you see, they found new markets over time to grow their little company. Same thing's true with Apple Computer. They started out with even something before the Macintosh, and then they developed the Macintosh, the computer for the rest of us, as I believe their tagline was way back when. And then they decided to squeeze a bunch of songs into something we called an iPod. So that was also very cool. Now they're in the music industry. Then they got into the phone industry with iPhone, and then the iPad industry. So you can see that Apple also has increased its market and found new customers by creating new products, targeting people all over the world, targeting different ages, targeting like interests. And so that's what's sort of exciting about finding new customers. We're going to have you think about doing that same thing. So why is finding new customers a good idea? Well, it's one of the fastest ways to grow your business. Think about it. The more customers you have, the more money they might spend with you, and the more profit you're going to have at day's end. Also, if you got more customers in your portfolio, your mix of customers, some may go away, but at least you've got enough customers in there to sustain your business. If you're a consultant, for instance, and you have just a handful of customers, and they might even spend a lot of money with you, but what happens if one, or tragically two, decide they're going to find a new consultant? Well, you're going to be out of luck for a while, aren't you? It's going to take a while to fill that pipeline, to engage those new potential prospects, and to convert them into customers. But if you had already had a nicer array of clients in your portfolio, then the risk is definitely minimized, and that's what you're trying to do. Now, it's a little bit more challenging to bring in new customers. They don't really know who you are. You're going to have to spend money, and you're going to have to create messaging to get their attention. You're going to have to work that room, so to speak, so that they now know who you are, they understand the benefits you provide, and they consider you for business, and then perhaps they finally give you that business. So it takes a while to fill that pipeline. Things might trickle out a little bit on the other side, but eventually that flow will be going through. So the nice thing about it is that you've converted a lot more people into customers, and you now have a more ready stream of business flowing through your organization. So where do you find these customers, these new exciting customers for your business? Well, let's take a look at demographics and psychographics. Demographics are the attributes of your customers. Could be age, could be income, could be marital status, could be education. So when you look at your existing base of customers and you identify what their demographics are, perhaps you can see some opportunities for pushing your product into new demographics. Something to think about. Next is psychographics. What are the interests of your customers? You don't care how old they are, you don't care how educated they are, for instance, but perhaps they love kayaking, and you offer some sort of product that keeps your hands warm when you're kayaking. Now, psychographics, the commonality there is keeping your hands warm. Maybe you find out that that same product can be used for people that mountain bike, or snow ski. So all of a sudden you're tapping into new markets. Let's take a look at my company right now, Once a Day Marketing, and the product I'm providing you. My initial foray into the market was to target small businesses and entrepreneurs who need a little push in their marketing. That's probably you. Now, how do I grow this business in the future? Well, I might decide to approach chambers of commerce and economic development organizations who also are trying to serve the small businesses in their community. And rather than me knocking on the doors of all those people in those communities, perhaps those chambers and economic development organizations will help me provide my product to their customers. Perhaps I decide that I want to also go to a whole different kind of clientele. Rather than small businesses, maybe my Once a Day Marketing lends itself to nonprofits. They need to market, they need to brand, and perhaps my product will work with them too. And maybe in the future what I do is I offer up whole new products under the Once a Day Marketing brand that I can find new markets as well. So that's what you got to think about. Taking a look at what you got right now, how you might tweak it and change it to find new markets in the future. I think you'll agree that finding new customers is a good marketing strategy for your business. It takes a little work. You got to find them. You got to contact them. You got to convince them that you're the go-to guy, that your product is what they need. But once you do that, and once you convert more customers, then all of a sudden you're going to have a more consistent, steady stream of income and profit coming into your business. And that's a very good thing, and that's what we're all about here at Once a Day Marketing, is firming up your business. That concludes our Recon Thursday. Be sure to stop by tomorrow if you can for Digital Friday. I'm Jim Glover, that branding guy for Once a Day Marketing, and we will see you next time.